As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
Bravo, bros.
Good morrow, good brethren, and welcome back to thy favorite podcast from thy brethren for thy brethren. I am your co-host, Sir Steele of Lafayette, joined as always by the one and only Sir Goots of Fairmount. How art thou this fine morn? I struggled
Good.
through that.
Yeah, no, that was good. It was a lot better. You didn't call anybody small folk this time, so that's good.
Well, we are all small folk, aren't we?
We are. We are smaller than dragons.
We definitely are smaller than dragons.
Yep. Except for the dragons that Lady Aaron got.
Hey-o! Sick burn. But there's a lot to be said about the smaller than dragons thing. We'll talk about that when we get into it. But welcome back to another House of the Dragon recap. This week was a little bit more. I will not call any of these filler episodes. This is important exposition. Yep. This is things that we need to address. There needs to be some of these sprinkled throughout. It can't be action all the time.
No, and it's going to happen as soon as we get our first dragon fight. It's not like we're going to get a second one right away. So everybody hold your horses, hold your dragons. Hey, now.
Rawr.
But this is all important plot. There's a lot of things. It's more of a setup episode.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't call it filler. It's a setup episode. We need all of this information. We need to see the psyche of everybody. The show is more than just dragons and fighting. It's nuanced. You got to see how the people are operating, what pieces are being moved, what the mental state of your team might be, whether you're Team Green or Team Black. I'm curious if anybody out there is Team Green. There's got to be some contrarians.
Yeah, there's definitely some contrarians out there.
As you sit here with a green shirt. Wait a minute.
Thought it was yellow.
Yeah. I always forget you're colorblind.
My bad.
Shooter's colorblind, if you guys didn't know. Like, really colorblind. Not like half colorblind.
Yeah. Like
super duper colorblind. He also doesn't care for when people go, what color is this?
Yeah, it's one of the worst things ever. That's why I don't tell anybody. Really? You're colorblind? What color is the sky? Shut up.
It's blue, but it looks purple.
Yep.
That would be kind of sick, actually. What color is the sky for you?
Blue.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not fun.
No.
What's something, like, big that you see?
Anything in context, like I know the grass is green. I know that.
No, I understand that, but does it look green?
It's not really how the brain works, I don't think. I know that it's green, so yeah, it looks green.
Oh,
yeah.
You can beat colorblindness by knowing the color of something?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And then you apply that to other. It's
House of the Dragon. Let's talk about that.
No.
Anywho, I enjoyed this episode a lot. I think that something that House of the Dragons does and Game of Thrones does so particularly well above so many other shows is actually allowing you to feel the tone of the episode. They're able to portray it in such a way that you understand the feeling that they're trying to go for. This is supposed to be restless, where you're uneasy, you're figuring out what's next, who's moving who's going to attack who. And I love that they're able to do that so well that you actually feel the tension throughout the episode, or at least I did.
Yeah, nothing gets you going and nothing makes you feel a little tense and uneasy, like a little Oedipus action.
Little Oedipus action was
very, very, very descript Oedipus action.
Too much.
Yeah.
Arguably too much, especially when I thought that's who that was, and then they say that's who that was. I was like, no. Gross, George R.R. Martin, you dirtbag.
I don't even know if that's really his fault. I think HBO took some liberties there.
That is, no. That is George R.R. Martin to a T. This will be good.
Yeah.
You gotta bang his mom.
Shock and awe.
Yeah, Targaryens. That's what they do. Everybody knows it. But it's funny that we have no issue with Damon and Rhaenyra being married.
Well, it's funny because I saw a meme that like had the breakdown of what we find gross and what we enjoy and we go for. At the bottom, obviously, as you get closer to the bottom, it's Jaime and Cersei, and you're like, ugh, no,
that's
absolutely
gross.
not.
I still remember that scene of them in the tower when Brom falls off.
Yeah. Brom?
Fuck. I thought I was so confident. Bran. Damn. I was like, I got this one. It's been a while.
Bran and Bronn?
Yeah.
And throw an M in there somewhere?
Damn. I was so close. I was so proud of myself. You know how hard it is for me to remember names?
Sansa Stark.
Swimmy.
That's Sansa and Sam. Marley.
Samsonite?
Samson.
I was way off. Bronn. Damn it.
Bran.
Damn it.
You're still off.
You know what I mean. My point is, I still see that scene in my head because I remember that was the first time watching that show. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, no, this one's a new low for incest.
Truer words never spoken. But let's jump into this episode. And we're starting out with multiple characters mourning Rhaenys. And we start with Corlys, who is standing at Driftmark, and there's just nothing there for him, is the vibe that I got. Like, that was his everything. And we saw their relationship throughout the last 2 seasons. They were closer than anybody on this show. It was an actual loving relationship. They lived and died for each other. So it seems to me that that scene signifies there's nothing left for him in Driftmark. I don't think he cares anymore.
Well, it's really interesting, too, because obviously this is a civil war between the Targaryens, and no one has lost more than Corlys.
Yeah, he has nothing to do now.
He has nothing to do. His wife's gone. His kids are gone. His grandchildren are kind of scattered, and they have different purposes that just don't align with what he's doing, which is a big part of this episode. So he is completely alone. And obviously last week we got to see Alan, who is his bastard.
Love Alan.
Love Alan. We know his brother Adam, probably another Corlys bastard. Maybe he'll bring them into the fold to just try to fill out Driftmark a little bit because there's no one there. You have to.
I think that was the nod later when he says to Bela, I want you as my heir. And the response there was, I'm blood and fire. You need, sea and salt.
Yeah.
So I think that was nodding to Adam and Alan, where it's like those guys literally are playing in the sea every time we see them, or next to a boat. That makes more sense.
Yep.
So I think we're going to get a lot more of that. We also get Rhaenyra talking to Jace later, and they're talking about all of the bloodlines that still have Targaryen blood in them.
Yep.
So I think that's what this episode's alluding to, is there's more players about to enter the game.
Dragon seeds.
I still don't like that.
You still don't like that?
No, it's not cool.
Okay.
I think that it sounds cool to you.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it sounds gross and yucky.
Yeah.
And then you said snake seed, and I really didn't like
that was too much. I took that one too far. I'll take that one back.
But we move on to the market at King's Landing, and if you notice, the fruit's rotten. They're rationing out like this nasty stew or whatever, just showing you the state of the realm and what it's in right now. And you get Meleys coming through the town. The head of Meleys is cut off. They're screaming that Aegon killed him, and Criston Cole is leading the charge. This was his idea, clearly, like, oh, we're going to parade around a dead dragon. Everyone's going to love this. They're going to hoist me up. They're going to hoist up Aegon. They hate it. Everyone sees this as a bad omen. They forgot that Meleys was once a friend of the realm, a friend of King's Landing. Yep. So seeing her dead...
Well, I'm gonna pump the brakes on that one.
Pumped.
The last time that Meleys was in King's Landing, she broke through the fucking...
And could have killed Aegon.
But did kill a lot of small folk.
Sure. Okay, fair. So maybe
But still, Meleys was a friend of King's Landing for the most of her life, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying. The point being, they thought this was going to be some shining moment where it's like, oh, we won. We won this big battle. As we saw, nobody really won. Both sides suffered great losses there. We find out they lost 900 men during that battle. So this, to me, just shows you that the stability of King's Landing, the support in King's Landing is faltering.
Yeah. Not only that, but it also obviously sets up something that we know from Game of Thrones, where we heard a story, I think it was maybe Robert Baratheon that was telling this story, about how towards the end of the Targaryen dynasty, or actually they went for another 100 years, but the end of the dragons, the last dragon was the size of a dog. And that's because they stormed, the free people stormed the dragon pit and killed all the dragons.
Right.
So now you're seeing, hey, there's the head of a dragon, so they're not gods, as one of the guys says to Hugh Hammer. Oh, I thought they were gods. They're not.
They're just meat.
They're just meat. You can kill them whenever you want to. You just have to have the numbers to do it. Or another dragon, obviously, hiding under a castle. That would be helpful too. But they're starting to see now that, yeah, this is a really dumb move by Criston Cole, because you're showing that dragons, the biggest power in this entire land, they're vulnerable.
They're vulnerable, which leads people further to say, well, if they're vulnerable, Targaryens are vulnerable. Yes. So we are not as protected as we once thought, or they're all omnipotent power that we believed this bloodline had is not real. You're losing the guise of they are untouchable by showing a dead dragon.
Now, I would have liked, and again, I mean, you can't say enough about Criston Cole as Hand of the King. Dude is having a historic run right now.
Oh yeah, I know.
An absolutely historic run. I still would have loved if maybe some of the people that were watching the procession pointed at the box and was like, "Hey, what's in there?
What's that box?
What's that box? Who's in there? Somebody?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the
Come
box?
on."
Show us the box. It's Aegon.
It's Aegon.
He's not doing well.
No, his armor is melted to his skin.
And it's Valyrian steel.
Yeah,
It has to be hot to burn
probably
that.
not easy to get off his skin, as we see.
It was not that difficult. It was.
I could have done without the subtitles saying "pus squelches."
Oh, I didn't see that.
Was, yeah,
I'm
I didn't
very
like
glad
that.
I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
It
That
happened a
would've-
couple times.
That would have bothered me.
Yeah, it did bother me.
But to counter you, I thought that it was the guy took like a dagger off the shelf. Was like popped
Yeah.
it off. That wasn't that hard.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
thought they're gonna have to I thought we were gonna have a really gross scene with like cutting it off.
You have to like reheat it to get it off.
And squelching is squelching, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad we didn't get overly
Yeah, that's a good
squelched.
point. Yeah.
But let's keep trucking. We get Alicent and Aemond, and Alicent notices that he's carrying Aegon's dagger, and the Kingsguard carries Aegon in that stupid thing, and they open it up, and that's where we start to see the damage that was done, the fused armor to his skin. And initially, it was interesting because I feel like they're showing Alicent is struggling to figure out who she is, where she stands, and we get more of that later at the council. But while she stands there, initially she seems somewhat indifferent by the whole thing. And as they start pulling the armor off and she sees how much damage was done, she starts to elicit some kind of emotion. And I think this whole episode for her is, who am I? And I think that's a lot of people in this episode, honestly, the more you think about it. A lot of people are confused about what their role is, and for her personally, am I a mother? Am I the queen? Am I supposed to be tough? Am I supposed to be motherly? I don't know what the hell I'm doing because I've never been good at this.
Yeah, and it's also one of those I have to take responsibility in some way, at least internally, because I set this in motion.
Yeah, that's a good
This
point.
is all me. I
Yeah.
put my son in this position where now he is burnt to a crisp and may never wake again.
He's a little crispy, but a little soggy.
Little crispy and soggy. How
A
about
little
that?
soggy with that squelching.
Top layer is crispy. It's like cereal. Top layer is
Yeah.
a little crispy. And then bottom
Aegon
layer
is
a little...
cereal.
Yeah.
That's what we've gotten
There we
to.
go.
See, you came
Got
here
there.
for the deep analysis. Aegon is cereal. There you go. But Aemond immediately steps up, and I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I have been saying all season he wants to be king. He steps up immediately and says someone's going to have to rule in his stead.
Mm-hmm.
So setting up what happens later. But we get to Criston Cole and Alicent, and that's where we get the rundown of Rook's Rest. You know, we took the castle. 900 men died. What do you want to know? Like, why are you talking to me about
Yeah.
this? Is pretty much the vibe. And he's like, well, what about Aegon? He's like, he fought valiantly. What about Aemond? Couldn't say. Don't know.
Yeah. As if that doesn't point to all of the answers that you already have.
Right.
Because Alicent this entire season has been saying things to Rhaenyra and to others. You know, or I know what Aemond is. You know what Aemond is. So you know what Aemond is. And now when something like this happens, you start to question yourself. And if Criston Cole's not going to say Aemond is the reason that we won, which he is, otherwise he wouldn't have won. You could have said something like that. Instead, he just kind of shudders. Like, oh, I can't do anything. My guy had a Menti break.
Menti break?
Menti breakdown.
Menti brie, I like,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
I'll
brie.
say
It's
Menti
like
brie.
cheese, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, a Menti brie.
Menti brie.
A wee
yeah.
Menti brie there.
Criston Cole is suffering right now. He just watched, which is the same thing that we saw in Game of Thrones with Jaime Lannister. Dragons are on a completely different level.
Yeah.
He just lost 900 men in like 10 minutes. There was a huge dragon battle. The king's down. I don't know what the hell's going on. What am I doing here?
I'm cleaning my sword with
Am
a
I?
lemon right now.
Yeah. Which
Why-
actually is accurate. That's what they do.
That's not surprising to me, but it was just the funniest image to me. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I'm going to cut this. Do you
He
think?
can't even look at you in the eye right now.
Do you think he cut the lemon with his sword?
Probably has a dagger.
That would be a funnier scene if you just see this big sword like, and then he cleans it off. I wish
Well, I
we got
imagine it
that.
would take a couple lemons, right? You can't just use the juice of one lemon.
It depends how big your sword is.
I'd like to see like a medieval juicer, like a handheld, like squeeze.
I imagine it's fairly similar to what we have today. That's not like
We really haven't moved that much,
groundbreaking
have we?
technology.
Yeah. Really haven't moved that
I
much.
don't know. I haven't actually seen a medieval juicer. That's just my thoughts and feelings on the matter. But we keep going. And Rhaenyra is at Dragonstone, and they're recapping everything, trying to figure out where they stand, what the fuck's going on throughout the realm. And the biggest dragon that they have is gone. Criston Cole is continuing to sack the Crownlands, although he's back at King's Landing for now. So I don't know if his army's still out doing his bidding.
Yeah, I mean, he did say that he left a small garrison of men at Rook's Rest.
He made it seem like
and
it's
Sunfire is still there, which is important, but
Sunfire's still there.
Sunfire can't travel, so
They believe Rhaenyra believes that Sunfire's dead,
not dead.
not dead, just very wounded. But
Yeah.
Sunfire's still chilling there. That'll come back into play later, I believe.
I imagine it would, yeah.
But Sir Alfred has had a chip on his shoulder from day one. And Rhaenyra asks him flat out, like, you got a problem? Like, what's your problem? And he says, look, I don't have an issue with your wit. I'm not questioning your capability. But the gentlest sex is not privy to military strategy. Good rebuttal. You've seen no more battles than me. So this is all just about the fact that she's a woman. And it all really ties into the fact that Damon is not there.
Yes.
There's a split between you and Damon, and I think everybody understands that this war will not be won while you two are not on the same team. Someone needs to step up and take control of this situation, or you guys need to come back together.
Yeah, and it's funny too because they all know, which is very interesting. Well, I guess they kind of know now, but they do all know that Rhaenyra is sending ravens to Damon, and he's just not answering.
Yeah, he's not replying.
But nobody's saying, "Is Damon even alive? What happened to him? Why is he not responding?
I think
What's
they
going
know.
on
You
here?"
can't
They have to
kill
know,
Damon.
right? Yeah, you can't. Well, they would have seen it, right?
Yeah.
It's the number one rule of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
You
if
got to
it-
see somebody die if they're going to die. But yeah, it's very funny that that's what they're blaming. And obviously, they know that they're clearly just not on the same page. Damon's doing whatever the hell he's doing out there. And I feel like a lot of these guys, especially on the small council, they obviously are sticking to their oaths because either they have to or they wanted to. But without Damon there, that's not what they signed up for.
No, they're not. They're still pledging allegiance, if you will.
Yeah, because look, they can't leave.
No, but they're
Get
not
beheaded.
being very understanding
No.
or helpful. Everything's met with resistance. They're not giving her the respect that a queen should get in that kind of situation.
Right.
So it's an interesting dynamic. And she just wants to, and I think that this is true for all of our main characters for the most part. All she wants to do is step up, and I think part of that is she feels like she's left out of the fight. She's sending people out to die in her stead. But I think another part of it is, let me show you what I'm capable of doing. You guys all question me, and by doing that, by stepping up and burning 1,000 soldiers and coming back alive, maybe then you'll stop questioning everything I'm doing. But again, we just saw what happens when the head honcho rides into battle. He gets scorched, and we can't allow that to happen because if you go down, this whole thing's for naught.
Yeah,
So no,
you can't go.
you got to stay here. You're the queen.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
And she's doing too. It's really funny too because she wants to go,
Yes.
but then when Jace offers to go, she won't let him go.
Right.
And that's probably just a reflection of her because if I'm stuck up here, there's no way that I'm going to let you go. Obviously, Luke died the last time that somebody left, but I'm not going to let you go with people dying left and right. But I'll go. It's like,
Right.
no, you don't realize that, like, if you die, it's over. Nothing really matters.
Done. It
Yeah.
literally is done. Unless, I mean, you still have Damon, but he's, walking around the halls of Harrenhal lost. He's having visions
I'm
of his
getting
mom.
to the point now where I'm done with the Harrenhal thing.
I think that
it was
we're
entertaining and it was good, and I know this is how Game of Thrones operates and Game of Thrones universe operates. They do tend to draw things out for a little longer, but we're just seeing him delve further into madness. And yeah, he starts talking about other things, whatever. But I don't need it anymore. I need him to get back. In any normal situation, after what just happened to Rhaenys, he would probably figure something out and get back.
Yeah, and I think I understand the artistic approach to it, if
Yeah.
you will, is watching this fierce warrior who is feared throughout the entire realm. Like everyone in Westeros is scared of Daemon, watching him be made to be completely irrelevant, losing
Mhm.
his mind, and not acting as we've seen Daemon act in the past. His responses to people are different. He's in this big spiral. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So I understand what they're doing, and I agree with you. This one's a little drawn out.
Yeah.
But I will say this about Game of Thrones. When they do draw things out, the payoff tends to be massive and almost makes all of it worth it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to when he gets back into the fight. There's no way that he doesn't.
I bet he's there the entire season. Until
No
like
way.
I bet you the finale something happens and he comes back, but
I don't think so. I
or
think
the
we get him.
penultimate or whatever because they tend to do like big battles and stuff before the episode before. But I guess we'll find out. I don't know.
I don't know. I hope that no. My bet is he comes back next week in some capacity.
I
At
hope
least
so.
because Sir Alfred's going there. Maybe that leads to a meeting with Rhaenyra, and then the following episode. Who knows? I don't know. Speculation's dumb. But we get Baela and Jace is headed to Harrenhal to affirm that Damon is still Team Rhaenyra, and also he wants to get into the fight. He's sick of being put to the sidelines.
I will say and obviously this is important because, again, what I just said before, Rhaenyra is not letting Jace go. Jace really wants to go. He's going to go behind her back. Baela's going to support him as his betrothed, of course. And they're doing it the right way, I feel like. They're trying to figure things out, and they team up, and I like it. They're a good power couple. My one big gripe, I yelled at my TV, kiss.
Yeah.
Kiss. What the hell?
Kiss.
I don't want to watch Damon and his mom. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
Give her a smooch. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, a smooch.
I want to watch this. I like to watch. You fucking creep. But you're right. I mean, he just wants to act, and he's headed to the Frey because as the Greybeards march from Winterfell, they'll have a direct path in if they can go through the Frey. So
As we know.
Yeah.
Just don't marry anybody.
Yes, but head that way. So he's going over to try to see if he can find a way through for the army so that they can start to get an army. They don't have anybody yet.
No, I know. That's what I keep thinking too is, yeah, you've got, last week we're like, oh yeah, Rook's Rest, there's a bunch of people. Yeah, you can bring a dragon over there and probably squash them, sure. But if you ever have to meet them in the field, who do you have?
Literally zero.
You just have a Kingsguard, which is even funnier. Why has Aemon not just gone to Dragonstone?
Why hasn't anybody just gone? I guess the dragons. Waylays
but
the dragons.
It's Vhagar. So like, if you just pull up on Vhagar, like, yeah, maybe you have to deal with Cyrax and Vermax, but like
Caraxes would come back into the fight.
Caraxes would come back, but he wouldn't get there in time. They know that Damon's in Harrenhal.
It's interesting.
You don't have to worry about the ones under the
because
under
then there'd be no show.
I know.
Why don't you shut up?
I know. I'm just military mind.
Just shut. Oh yeah.
No, I was talking about Aemon. Aemon's the military mind. He wants to go do things over here and prepare for battle.
Right.
You can just squash him right now.
That's fair. I thought you were saying you are a military mind.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But we get Damon addressing House Bracken and Lord Bracken. He's sitting on Caraxes, trying to persuade them to join the fight, or I'm going to burn you to a crisp. What we've learned about the Riverlands as a whole, and this was touched on in the after show a little bit as well, it's a very stuck in the old ways kind of place. Like, they still believe in the old gods. They don't really give a shit that you have dragons. It's not really that imposing on them. And that shot, I thought that was such a cool shot as he turns around and says, we'll take fire. You can just burn us because we're not bending the knee. Go fuck yourselves. You get that shot of him riding away, and Caraxes is just, his face is right there. You're like, are you going to Dracarys him? Is it coming?
Nope.
And no, it's not, which is restraint on Damon's part.
A show of respect.
But this is what you're seeing with his madness run in Harrenhal is a different person in a lot of ways. Because there's a lot of moments in this where I'm like, okay, Damon last year would have killed you. He would have killed the team of Brackens that come in later to talk at the council to try to figure out, we'll get there. But the restraint he shows in not lashing out. And then further, when he's talking to Lord Blackwood after that and recapping what just happened, he's like, man, I really thought that they would, come aboard. They're not scared at all. And Blackwood's like, well, you should have just torched him. He's like, well, we need an army, not corpses.
Yeah.
That again shows that he's thinking further ahead than any moment that we would have seen him in the past. So I think that the Harrenhal madness trip is annoying.
It's annoying, and I do think that we're getting more out of him, and I don't know when he says certain things, if he actually believes it, if he's going to go back to normal Damon, or what he's going to do from here on out. But I think that this was actually a stroke of, okay, I need people like that. Those are exactly the people that I need.
That's what he says, yeah.
I don't think that's going to work, though, because the Brackens and the Blackwoods have been fighting for hundreds of years. They never team up. So I don't really understand how you think that's going to work if you listen to anybody that's been talking.
Send them to different battlefronts.
Yeah, I guess that could work. I guess there's only one battlefront right now, and it's at Harrenhal.
Yeah, well, seemingly what he's saying is, at least in my mind, if I don't get them both, we're not going to win.
Yeah.
Like, I need both sides. I need just numbies. I need numbies.
He needs numbies, but he's in his Bob the Builder era right now.
He's not doing it. Oh, he literally. I thought you mean like building the army. He's
building
shit.
Harrenhal, yeah, which is hilarious. And I get it that you want to like garrison a bunch of troops there, but if Vhagar comes over, he's just going to undo all the work he did.
Doesn't matter.
What's the point?
Yeah, you're splitting firewood and sending it up. What are you going to build with split firewood? He's like, "Oh, take it up." I'm like, "That's legit."
Just going up to his room
Is that what
to
that?
light the fire for
Maybe.
him so he can sleep better at
It was
night.
just weird. It's like if you're building things, you need it to have a shape. You split a log and send it up in a bucket.
You should be destroying the bed that you sleep in.
You stop sleeping in that
Made
bed.
out of a weirwood.
Yeah, it's not doing good things for you. Maybe he's enjoying the trips.
Yeah, he might
Maybe
be.
this is like a little Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca
I
trip.
think he's enjoying it, yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Good point.
But we get to the Eerie and Lena and Lady Aaron. And she's pissed because she was promised dragons and in return would give 15,000 soldiers, which is a solid number that they desperately need. The argument being, well, I did bring you dragons. There's 2 of them right there. They're the size of a dog, as you pointed out with the other dragons.
Yep.
Technically speaking, okay, and politics, they use technicalities here. You got your dragons. You got 2.
Yep.
They're going to grow. It might take a while and a lot of sheep.
Yeah, no dragon riders necessarily. Well, Joffrey, but yeah.
Yeah, but you got 2 dragons. They did technically hold up their part of the deal, but there's a seemingly some kind of bond between these 2, between her and Rhaena, because as they sit there and discuss it, it's like, I hate feeling powerless. It's like, yeah, me too. It's like, oh, interesting. Like,
Yeah.
this could be an interesting relationship here. I'm imagining that we're going to get some kind of massive fight here because they made the point to say that the Erie's impregnable, that you can't get in here
No,
unless
if you remember
come
what
overhead.
Bronn said.
What?
You give me a few good men, we'll impregnate the bitch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Little
Remember that Game of Thrones
I don't.
season 3?
No.
Come on.
My brain doesn't work. I called
come
him
on.
Bram.
That's why she said it's impregnable. That's the whole.
Oh, that was a
That's
callback.
a callback, yeah.
Have a good callback. Don't remember them because my brain stinks.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. Somebody asked after we had answered questions, I think last week, they're like, Steele, do you get mad when Shooter is pretentious about his Game of Thrones knowledge? And I would have responded with, not at all. I'm so glad that you remember all the lore because I forget so much of it. But this scene with Mysaria and Rhaenyra was super interesting because this is a different type of war and a very important part of war if you're able to spin things. And it's Mysaria talking about how there's more than one way to fight a war, implying let's go spread some rumors and shit.
Propaganda.
Yeah, let's go propagandize these idiots because they're not doing well with the small folk. They're all scared. They're running around. They don't have any food. They don't have any answers. Aegon just fell. They just paraded a dragon through the streets, and Mysaria doubles down and says that was a huge mistake on Criston Cole's part because now they're all uneasy. There's a bunch of unrest. Now's the time. Let me do my thing. And Rhaenyra is again saying, like, I don't know what my part in this whole thing is. Like, what am I supposed to do? What Mysaria says here, I think, is really important. Let others do for you things you cannot do. Rhaenyra is so stuck on I need to get in the fight that she's not directing people really.
Right.
You need to point your army or what you have at your disposal in a certain direction. All we've seen her do in the beginning, I gave her credit for showing restraint. Now it's like, all right, the only thing you've acted on was sending Rhaenys to Rook's Rest, which was arguably a mistake. And instead, now you're back to what should we do? I don't know what to do. Let's do this and that. Make a decision. Send your people to do your bidding. Stop trying to get into the fight to prove that you are as tough as everybody else. We saw Aegon do that, and yes, Rhaenyra is more capable than Aegon, but that's what happened.
Yeah, Aegon went through the same thing, and it ended up with his mom telling him to do absolutely nothing.
Right.
Because he doesn't take the time to read the books. And every scene that we see with Rhaenyra, she's reading one of the books.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. I assume they're just Dragonstone books. I don't think she stole them from her father.
I thought they were like Mad Magazine.
It could be Mad Magazine. But she's taking the time to figure it all out. And she says something in this scene where she's talking about her father. Like, yeah, her father didn't teach her how to fight. But there's 2 reasons for that. One, obviously, you're a woman in the realm, so you're not going to learn how to fight. You're not going to have a sword in your hands as soon as you learn how to walk, like she says. But 2, Viserys also ruled over a peacetime.
Yes.
So most of these people don't actually know how to fight. They're just trying to figure it all out as they go along. And how many times do we have to have Criston Cole say, you don't have any battle experience, but I do? Like, okay, yeah, I get it. Whatever. You've been in a battle before. Nobody really knows what they're doing, but she's trying to figure out what she does, and obviously she's getting restless. So it's really tough to see, and obviously at some point, she's going to have a breaking point where things aren't going to work, or she's just going to get on the back of Syrax and just go into battle and just do something because she's getting stir crazy there.
Yeah. I agree, and they're trying to set that up, and I think that everyone in her camp is trying to avoid that, which is, again, you don't send your president to go fight a war.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you should sit tight and let it happen, but I think, again, an underlying thing of this entire season and these characters on this show specifically is because their parents fucked them up so bad in different ways.
Yeah.
It's all of this, I need to prove myself to everybody to show that I'm as tough, I'm as smart, I'm capable. And that's getting people into really bad situations. It's going to get you burnt to a little crisp.
Yeah. And I'll still give Rhaenyra a little bit of credit for at least listening to people. Now,
does, yeah.
I mean, we have Mysaria is her counsel away from counsel, her secret counsel, if you want to.
Sure.
Just to try to figure things out. And she learns more in just the one-on-one meeting with Mysaria than she does sitting with her entire small council who's getting restless, who wants her to do something. Go do this, talk to Damon, do this, whatever. She's being a little more open when she's talking to Mysaria, which is good because we actually get to see how she feels and she gets to talk a little bit more plainly. So we understand what she's going through and where she's trying to go. But she's really just trying to figure it out, at least. And I think that'll work out.
I think so. I think it always, and I think that they do it intentionally throughout the entire season is show you both sides operating in very similar fashions. But when it comes to the crucial decisions and listening to your camp and making a pivotal move, Rhaenyra tends to err on the side of caution and listening to those around her, whereas on the other side, it's a lot of impulse.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to note. But moving on, we get Rhaenyra and Baela, and they're talking about Rhaenys and how she got Meleys to bend the knee to her and not her dad and all this other shit. But Rhaenyra sends her on a mission to give Corlys this little box, which is the Hand of the King medallion, to try to get Corlys on her team. And you could argue that it was slightly opportunistic or just a really smart move at that time to get him to buy into it. Both.
Definitely.
But that's what a good ruler does. You got to take advantage of a good situation, bad situation, and make it good. Sorry, R.I.P. Rhaenys. But that's what she's doing. She knows that Corlys is lost right now. He lost everything, as we find out, his words. But yeah, I thought that was a good move. That was a smart move. Also very smart to send Baela, his granddaughter. Gonna pull at the heartstrings a little bit more.
Gotta do it.
Yeah. Little gross? Maybe. Great move? Definitely.
You don't have much family left.
Yeah. But we get Damon. Oh, Damon. Oh, George R.R. Martin. Oh, Game of Thrones. God damn it. We're watching this fairly explicit sex scene.
Very.
And yeah, that's his mom.
Mm-hmm.
He's banging his mom. Didn't need it.
You should have been born first. You were my favorite son.
You were my favorite son whilst in her.
God.
Oh, I didn't need to say that either.
No, you didn't need to do it. You're making it worse.
I hate it. I hate it so much, but snap out of it because you're sitting at the dinner table. What? Oh, you don't like the ducks?
I love that they did the delayed thing where it overlaps a little bit, and Simon Strong walks in
while
he's banging his mom.
Oh, don't mean to interrupt, but your duck's cold, sir.
Yeah, is the duck not to your liking?
We got goose. Oh, God. Yeah, what a scene. What a moment. But he snaps out of it, and Simon Strong is sitting there and talking about how both sides suffered such a great loss, and how do we move forward from here. And again, they're sitting at a disheveled castle with no army trying to make pivotal war moves when they really don't have a lot of hands to play.
Yeah.
And the response from Damon is it's time for a show of strength. It's like, okay, well, how? Like, what are we doing here? He sent Lord Blackwood to go get House Bracken under control, which that was cryptic to me. It's like, you know what to do. What?
Like, there's some things that the crown can't be seen doing. And it's like, what are you going to do?
I don't know. And that clearly Lord Blackwood takes that, and we find out later, as I'm going to go pillage and plunder and ruin.
Kidnap children and wives.
Whilst flying the banner of the Targaryens.
Yeah.
So interesting move. I'm sure that's going to go over well.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to lose a bunch of support there. But that's where we cut to the castle getting fixed up, and Damon's doing carpentry. And by carpentry, I mean literally splitting logs, putting them in an old-fashioned wheelbarrow, and sending them up in a bucket.
Yep.
I need to know what those logs are for. Structurally speaking, that doesn't make any sense. Are you making spikes?
I have absolutely no idea what he could possibly be doing.
Is it spikes for a
I think it was
trapdoor?
just busy work, just to say he was doing something.
And what's wrong with your hands?
I don't know.
Why are your hands all bloody? What do
Didn't you train with a sword forever?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Get some calluses, you bitch.
Yeah.
Like what? That's not tough.
I don't know.
I need him to be tough.
I
He's
know.
bleeding from his palm from chopping wood in a That's another thing. A castle's made out of stones.
Yeah.
What
He
do you
needs to fix the
Oh,
roof?
maybe he's making a bed. So you don't have to sleep in that weird bed anymore.
That's a possibility.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah, but let's trust Alice to clean my hands off.
Yeah.
She probably didn't slip any
sit
poison or
down.
anything weird in here. You walked into this castle and said, I'm not going to eat this venison that you have or the peas because you could poison me, and that's the easiest way to kill a dragon rider. Everything that Alice Rivers does, he's like, yeah, sure. All right.
Do you think that's intentional? Do you think that's to say, like, for whatever reason, she has this pull over him that he just trusts her?
Yeah, maybe. Some sort of wizardry.
Witchcraft, wizardry,
Witchcraft,
school,
wizardry, yeah.
Hogwarts.
Yep.
She's Hogwartsing
He's
him.
Hogwartsing him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Harry Potter's going to join the fight in Voldemort. You must not be... I still think there's a crossover there
There's
somewhere.
dragons in there too, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yep.
Bring it in. What's the dragon's name from Goblet of Fire?
Yep.
The Norwegian Ridgeback.
That's actually true.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Harry
Who
Potter.
know?
I used to listen to Harry Potter book on tape. I had the CD set to fall asleep all throughout middle school. That I can remember the lore for.
Okay.
Not House of the Dragon, but that I can. Anyway. But in this scene specifically, I jumped the gun a little bit. This is when Simon Strong shows up and Damon's trying to rally support. He's talking about payment. We need money to do that. And Alaris took his entire nest egg and shipped it to King's Landing with himself. And hey, maybe we can, maybe we can ask Rhaenyra for help. Absolutely not.
No.
She's not getting involved.
Not gonna happen.
Harrenhal's mine. And this comes into play much more later because his plans are not clearly mapped out. He doesn't know how he wants to proceed. Is he going to do it himself and claim the throne for himself? Is he going to pledge fealty to Rhaenyra again? He doesn't know. So no, we're not getting her involved. I'm doing my own thing here. Harrenhal's mine. Call me king. Call me daddy.
King.
Call me daddy.
Consort.
Yeah, bitch. You're not the king. But he's not the king. He's the king consort. It is what it is.
Simon Strong is growing on me.
I like Simon Strong a lot, actually, but